Hi librarians, my name is Hannah Reynolds and I'm here to read from the first chapter of my new book, Nights of Flirting, which publishes on October 25th. Thank you so much to the Baker & Taylor's Children's and Teen Services team for having me. Let's begin. Chapter 1. When I saw Tyler Nelson at Nantucket's tiny airport, I ignored him because Tyler Nelson was the absolute worst. I watched him from the corner of my eye, feigning indifference as I brushed away the snow clinging to my coat from crossing the tarmac. He took the prime position at the start of the baggage carousel, so I moved to the far side and stood with my back to him. Outside, white flakes swirled madly. The wind, which had spurred nerve-wracking turbulence, howled like a lone wolf giving wild, maniacal form by motes of snow. My phone buzzed, and I pulled it out. "Hi, Mom." "Shira?" In just 2 syllables, Mom's tone conveyed worry and bad news. "Where are you? Did you land?" "I'm at the airport. Are you at the house?" "We're still in Boston. Our flight was canceled." "What?" I'd expected her to be at Golden Doors by now, along with the rest of the family, lighting up my grandparents' house with laughter. Their plane had been due to arrive an hour before mine. "Did you get another?" "They're all canceled. The winds are too strong. We're going to take the High Line tomorrow if the ferries are running. Will you be okay alone tonight?" I'd been looking forward to seeing my family, to burrowing into their warmth. The idea of being alone for an extra day made my stomach feel hollow. But it wasn't worth telling Mom and stressing her out. "I'll survive. Make sure you pick up something to eat, okay?" I glanced outside again. I'd be lucky to get home in this storm, let alone get takeout or delivery. But surely Golden Doors had food in the pantry. "Will do. How was Noah's ceremony?" "Good, lots of speeches. Noah looked very grown up. How did you do on your final?" "Aced it," I said, because if your daughter had expensive tutors, she damn well better ace her exams. "Are Grandma and Grandpa okay?" "Oh, well," Mom sighed. "Grandpa's complaining about how we should have predicted the weather, and Grandma thinks he's being foolish. She's worried about the decorations, though. She thought she'd be back today and have them up before the littles arrive tomorrow, but now everyone will show up at once." Mom lacked even the smallest drop of subtlety. "You want me to decorate?" "Not if you don't have time, but you will be there." "So would you," I wanted to say, "if you'd stayed home and flown out of JFK instead of going to Noah's thing in Boston." But I told them it was fine, so it was fine. "Sure." "Okay, great, darling. We should be there around 3 tomorrow. You're sure you'll be okay?" "I'll be fine," I said. "See you tomorrow." When we hung up, my fake smile fell away, and I stared blankly at the swirling snow. Alone, for the first night of the holidays. I could do this. Only I was so lonely. Nope, I was fine. Besides, I didn't have time to be lonely. I could work on my plans for the break, because I had big plans. Plans involving Isaac Lear. If my life was a movie trailer, the voiceover would say, "This holiday season, Shira Barbanel is determined to win over Isaac Lear, no matter what." A series of slapstick shots would follow, of us running into each other in Central Park, flicking latke batter at each other in my kitchen, and ice skating at Rockefeller Center, where he'd witnessed me landing a triple axel. The narrator might add something along the lines of, "Shira Barbanel is a lost cause at love," the appropriate for all audiences version of, "Shira Barbanel is a hot AF mess who can't get a boyfriend," a situation I plan to change over winter break. I'd met Isaac, my great-uncle's 19-year-old intern, sporadically over the last year at family and company events. He was 6'3", lanky, and dreamy as Morpheus. His grandfather and my great-uncle had gone to college together, so when Isaac's parents decided to spend 6 months traveling through Europe and Asia, my great-uncle offered to bring Isaac to Golden Doors for the holidays. And now, this holiday season, I would turn our occasional small talk into a genuine connection. And maybe I didn't have a great record getting boys to like me, but that could change. Besides, not everything could go as badly as it had with Tyler, who, in a cruel twist of fate, was now the only other person left at baggage claim. Also, while I was blatantly ignoring him, I found it insulting that he could so easily ignore me. To add insult to injury, our belated bags came out nestled together. I looked pointedly away while Tyler pulled his duffel bag free, and instead of walking over, waited for my slow voyaging suitcase to reach me. When it did, I heaved the bag off the conveyor belt and lugged it across the nearly empty room. Nantucket's small airport was almost more like a train station. The whole of AC could fit inside Grand Central. Still, a broken wheel in my suitcase left me panting and awkward as I reached the doors, where I accidentally made eye contact with Tyler. He smirked. Well, the plane ride had turned my normally impeccable curls, both frizzy and greasy, and I could feel a zit poking out of my chin. Tyler looked like he'd stepped out of central casting. His soft golden hair gave him the aura of a Disney prince, and even the amusement in his blue eyes didn't detract from his angelic looks. Hey, Shara. Tyler. I dragged my suitcase another few feet. Need any help? No. Suit yourself. He turned away, buttoning up his woolen coat and tossing one end of a scarf over his shoulder. It was 16 degrees outside. He should have been wearing a puffer jacket and bean boots like me, but God forbid he look like anything other than an ad for expensive cologne. Whatever. I didn't care if he froze to death or ruined his fancy leather shoes. Tyler Nelson came in at number 1 on the list of Shira Barbanel's disastrous attempts at romance, and I wanted nothing to do with him. The list, in no particular order. Jake Alvarez. Asked him to homecoming last year, only to have him blink, stumble backwards, and stutteringly tell me he already had a date. Dominic Hoffman, from Camp Elman, mocked him relentlessly in an attempt at flirting, made him cry and leave for home early. Siddharth Patel, from Driver's Ed, lusted after him silently throughout the entire course, finally exchanged numbers on the last day. No response to my one brave text. Hey. Tyler Nelson spent 4 summers madly in love with him, only to finally make a move and be utterly, devastatingly rebuffed. Isaac, handsome, smart, sophisticated Isaac, would not be another example of me failing at boys. He was way more grown up than any of my other crushes, sure to be better at conversation and easier to hang out with, and this time I'd master the art of flirting. Or at least I'd follow the steps as laid out by Google. Step 3, start talking. Possibly Google needed as much help flirting as I did. In any case, I knew better than to expend energy on Tyler Nelson. I tore my attention away from him to check Uber and groaned at the surge pricing, and no car available. Impossible. I tried Lyft with the same result. With a sense of looming dread, I looked out the windows again. The snow obscured the window. The snow obscured the world. Hard to believe leaves had still clung to trees a month ago, yellow-green and orange-brown. The chill in the air had only been enough to make boots acceptable. But today, a nor'easter had swept the eastern seaboard with the reckless speed of Elsa icing Arendelle, painting the world white. Even Nantucket, where the sea usually whipped the island wet and bleak. Outside, a car pulled into the taxi lane, careful on the snow-dusted asphalt. By the terminal doors, Tyler gathered his duffel bag, tightened a hand around his suitcase handle, and walked into the blizzard. Pride warred with desperation. The latter won. I dashed after him, heaving my suitcase off its broken wheel. It banged against my legs, the pain and embarrassment warming me against the hideous cold. Snowflakes smacked into my skin, dissolving in icy pinpricks. Tyler! He stood by the back of the taxi, placing his bag in the trunk. Shira, can I share your car? Let me guess. A closed-lipped smile curved his perfectly shaped mouth. You can't get one. Tough break. Tyler, come on, you live next to me. The driver pushed his head out the window. That you, Shira Barbanel? Phil! I beamed at the driver, who I'd known for years. How are you? Doing well, doing well. Where's the rest of your family? Snowed in Boston. Their flight was canceled. Really? Tyler said. Same with mine. What were they doing in Boston? Noah had a thing. I had to stay home for a final. Toss your stuff in the back, Phil said. I'll give you kids a ride. Throwing a triumphant look at Tyler, I maneuvered my bag into the trunk, then slid into the back after he beat me to the front. Phil pulled away from the curb. You two have a good flight? Some turbulence, but not bad, Tyler said. I made a noise of agreement. I couldn't believe I hadn't noticed him on the plane. Maybe I boarded after him and he'd been in the back? Maybe he'd boarded at the last minute when I'd already been absorbed in my book. Maybe, I thought, with a shot of hope, I was no longer so tuned in to Tyler's presence that I noticed every move he made. We drove down Old South Road. Though the storm might have been a transportation nightmare, I adored how the snow powdered the pavement white, like we'd been transported to a time when horse-drawn carriages traveled on dirt paths, where people hurried down the streets in velvet capes and fur muffs, and sleigh bells mixed with the sound of laughter. The island already had a quaint, old-timey atmosphere, and winter just heightened it. This was my favorite season on Nantucket. I loved the stark, cold beauty, the snowy beaches, and brilliant stars. The drive only took 15 minutes, winding past the cedar-shingled island houses outfitted for the seasons, decked in sparkling lights, yards populated by light-up reindeer. Windows displayed Christmas trees and candelabras whose branches I always counted. There were wreaths twined with pine cones and holly, red and gold everywhere. But Tyler's house, when we reached it, was dark. The lawn was a sheet of white, the bushes snowy heaps, and the house, usually an elegant beauty, a blank monolith under the darkening sky. Thanks, Tyler said to Phil. When he climbed out, icy air swept in, and goosebumps rose on my neck. Tyler tossed a look at my way. See you around, Sheer. Sheer, I muttered. Being called Sheer always made me think of sheep or transparent tops. But he'd already shut the door and gone to unload his bags. We'll wait to make sure he gets in all right, Phil said, as Tyler trundled to the front door, then stepped inside. Relief broke over me as Phil put the car in reverse. With Tyler in the way, I could focus on Isaac, on the future, not the past. How's Amy doing? Phil's 19-year-old daughter was a lifeguard during the summers and had just started college in Boston. Is she home for Christmas? She got back 2 days ago, brought a suitcase of dirty laundry. Phil laughed, hearty and familiar. She's loving college. Next semester, she'll have to declare her majors. She's teetering between computer science and physics. Her mom and I... Phil paused, and I saw his frown in the rearview mirror. Huh. I twisted. Tyler is running toward us, waving his arms for attention. Phil rolled down the window. You okay? Tyler reached the car, his breath coming in white puffs. Snowflakes glittered in his golden hair. The electricity's out. The heat, too. The panel didn't work. Oh, no. Surely he went deign to suggest. He met my gaze and smiled, more ironic than charming. So, Shira, can I bunk with you tonight? You want to stay with me at Golden Doors. Why don't you stay at a hotel? I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to bicker in front of an adult. And while Tyler could afford it, why would he shell out money for a last-minute room when he could stay at my grandparents' place for free? Besides, then Phil would have to take Tyler to a hotel, spending even more time driving in these conditions. Still, nope, I couldn't turn him down. Our families ran in the same social circles. We'd be attending their Christmas Eve party later this week, and they'd be attending our Hanukkah celebrations a few days after. Fine. Great. With a flash of his white, even teeth, he retrieved his bags and returned to the car, his long legs once more cramped in the front seat. We'll have a good time. I didn't dignify his lie with an answer. Tyler's mom's Hummer home abutted my family's ancestral property, the sprawling estate of Golden Doors, so the ride took a scant minute. The house loomed as we pulled up the circular drive, not gold, but gray. Gray shingles covered the original 19th century building, as well as the modern expansions. Endless windows reflected the gray-white sky. Someone had plowed and shoveled the porch steps, but even so, a blanket of snow had gently returned. Thanks so much, I said to Phil, and Tyler echoed me. Then we were pushing through the drifts, our legs struggling against the snow. On the porch, where a lighter layer carpeted the wooden boards, we brushed ourselves off as best we could. I led us into the dark foyer and flicked the light switch, my chest tight. What if the power had died here too? But the chandelier lit up and the HVAC panel summoned the telltale whir of heat. I stepped back on the porch, directing 2 thumbs up at Phil. He gave a friendly honk and sped away, leaving me and Tyler Nelson alone. We stared at each other. I had never met anyone else with such perfectly sculpted features, with eyes so blue and hair so gold. This boy could get away with murder or fraud or heartbreak, and people would chuckle and pat him on the cheek and say, "What a rascal." "Well, Shara," he drawled, and even his voice was beautiful. Damn him. This should be fun. So thank you guys so much for listening. If you give it a go, I hope you enjoy, and happy reading. Bye.